Welcome to the Live Worthy podcast, where we urge and equip you to live a life worthy of the calling you've received, for you have been called by God. I'm your host, Erin, and I'm here with my most favorite guest, maybe besides Mickey, and that is my mom.
Yay!
Mom, you're here.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Glad.
I only had to twist your arm a little bit. I want to introduce you as maybe the greatest claim to fame, which is you give the world's best hugs. I think everybody knows it, even if they're not your mom. Like, you're not their mom. That's what I mean. If you're not their mom, they still recognize you as a great hugger. And so I thought about, what if I've had this idea for years because I learned how to hug from your hugs. And they minister so deeply to people. And so I thought, what if we went into ministry together and we called it Mother Huggin' Ministry?
I love that. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can feel it almost.
Yeah. Maybe it would be a little bit offensive to some people, but
we have to ask permission.
okay, deal. Yeah, I just love, anyway, that's your real claim to fame. No matter all the other things you've done, you just have the best hugs. So, but you do have a lot of, you're highly anointed, and you've done so much for the Lord. You've really given your life to him, and you've shown me how to give my life to him. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I feel very blessed and honored to be here with you.
Oh,
I just love looking at you.
Ah.
I think you're beautiful.
Thanks, Mom. Part of like what is important about this too, I think, is because as the Lord establishes things, sometimes we want to know, like, if part of what Worthy is doing is really to bring unity in the region and to gather women, it's important that whatever's happening under the surface is also spirit-led and honoring to the Lord and holy and pure. And I think inviting family, it has to start with us, and then unity by the Spirit through family, and then it can grow from there. And I think sometimes ministries don't have their family or their personal lives. I don't know. They're not pure before the Lord, and then they build this great big ministry, and it's just not, their character is lacking. Yeah. So I think having you on, having family on, having Mickey on, and my own kids is like, you can see that there's purity at the heart of what God is doing. Yeah.
And we like being together.
That's true too. Yeah. We were just together for a whole week. It was great. So you are, you have kind of like this second act story where you started a second act, right? They say that like after you're in your 40s, you have like another, kind of awakening of identity and purpose and all that, the second act. So what was that for you?
Well, it was like you were just saying I knew in my heart that I wanted my children to have a relationship with the Lord. Like it wasn't a kind of a law thing, but to really know him. And so our family, our family nights that we would have together were not your classic get-togethers, but they were really funny at times and really heartwarming at times. And I knew I didn't want to go too far until I knew y'all had that relationship with the Lord, that each one of you knew him. And so after that was done, as y'all grew, then I thought, now what do I do? And the Lord just kind of showed me in Isaiah 54, it says, sing, O barren woman, over the barren fields. And so I would always sing what I thought the Lord wanted y'all to produce, and so that way I could kind of water it and see what he does with it. I didn't know what he looked like. Like even with Worthy, I remember y'all as teenagers, the three girls wanting to have a ministry together. And we didn't know what it looked like, but we knew that it was something together. And so there was no shape to it, but there was a spirit and the bones were there kind of thing. And as I grew older, I thought, oh, I just began to love the women of God and who were trying to go deeper with him. And because I didn't have a mentor, I wanted to share with them the things that the treasures that he had given me.
I love that you would sing over the fields.
I did.
Oh my gosh. You are a prayer warrior unlike anyone I've ever seen. So you are the leader of our prayer council. So you're in constant prayer over what is happening at Worthy, and we join you in prayer, and you're giving me things that the Lord has given you. So you have a very prophetic ear. I often think, like, if my mom has heard it, it's come straight from heaven, because you have like this, I don't know, the Lord just speaks to you. I remember you told me when I was pregnant with Cecilia, my third, you said, okay, I was praying and I think you're going to go into labor like Saturday, December 6th. And I think my due date was like the 8th. And I'm like, well, that's in the window. And sure enough, midnight of December 6th hits and my contractions start, and she was born that day. But I knew, like, well, just plan to pick my kids up, because if you heard that, I'm sure it's true. And you didn't say that with any of my other children, but you just, if you hear it, I just know it. And then you tell me, I just know it's come straight from the Lord. You have rarely, if ever, been wrong about what you hear from him.
Yeah. Well, thank God he's good to his word.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, so you really listen and pray. And I want to talk today about how you have cultivated a life of prayer. Because that's really, I think, when I think of you, like hugger and praise like no one else. But I think I would like to ask you first, because I've just said like what I see when you walk into a room, but what would you say comes from heaven, that when you walk into a room, this is what you're establishing on earth as it is in heaven? What would be that to you?
Probably I would see myself as an ear, that I love to hear what's going on in people's lives, that it's important to me. And so I'm there just to listen. And that's what I love. I want to know more about them. And just, it expands my heart. It helps my heart to grow. I always feel like the Grinch, that my heart just grows and grows.
As you listen to people, that's really cute. I think that maybe that's why you can hear so well from the Lord, because you're an ear to him as well. He's like, I can trust you with his secrets, with the things that he wants to share. You're good at listening, and you don't listen in order to share. That's what I think is so innocent about how you are, is that you're not just like, give me a word so I can, make my name known. You just really ponder those things in your heart until the Lord releases them for you to share. Anyway, I'm a fan of yours, Mom.
That's so sweet. I love
Okay. So tell us about your story of salvation, because we shared Mickey and I's story, and that was really, your story is similar in some ways. So would you tell us your salvation story, and then what led you into kind of this ministry space that you're in?
Okay. Well, I got saved when I was 27. I had never heard about Jesus. I didn't know what he was like. I came from a very good family, but we never spoke about the Lord at all, so I didn't really know him. And well, should I go into the pregnancy part of me, or just at the salvation? Or okay. So I was we were 18 and 19 when I got pregnant, and I really loved your dad. I felt very safe around him, and so I knew he was a one. It's really funny how all the walls just kind of break down when you find that love of your life. And he could penetrate my walls. And so we were married, and we were young hippies, and we were excellent sinners.
Oh, well, there you go.
Nobody taught us, we were just really good at it. And so then we had a rough marriage. Without Jesus, it's really hard to forgive. It's really hard to hope. And our marriage was falling apart. It was apart, and it was apart for 9 months. And on Father's Day, he came to pick up your brother and sister, and he had left a pamphlet. I forgot what they're called. They're little square things. Do you know what they're called?
Like business cards or something?
Well, it was a story about you can
like
trust.
A tract?
Yeah, a tract.
Like a tract?
And it was you can trust with Jesus again. And I thought, who is Jesus? Like, I didn't know who he was. And so when he came on Father's Day and he brought the children back, I said, who is Jesus? And he began to tell me for 8 hours about Jesus. And I'd never heard anything. And he goes, would you like to ask him into your heart? And I was like, well, I probably have a lot of things to clean up first. And he was, no, he wants you just the way you are, Kathie. And so I went through the sinner's prayer with him. And then he pushed me into my bedroom, and he said, now go talk to the Father. Well, I didn't know what to say.
Like by yourself. He's like, now you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
But my great aunt had given me $1 to learn the Lord's Prayer. So I just remember sitting down, and I said hour. And when I said hour, I saw every nation, every color, just nations. It was like I flew around the world. And then I said, Father, and I knew that they were my brothers and sisters. Like I had many, many brothers and sisters. And for the first time in probably 20 years, I cried. I just broke down and cried. And the Lord picked me up and laid me on and put me on his lap and put my head against his breast. And I just knew what love was. I'd never known love. I mean, never, ever. And since that day, he's so big that every day I want to know what's in store, what's on his heart. And so it's an adventure with him, and it's hard and it's wonderful, but it's life and it's alive.
Wow. What a beautiful experience to not know anything, and then you just trusted him.
Yeah.
So what were the tears about when you cried for the first time in 20 years? What were those tears all about?
I think it was being loved right where I was, like in all my sin. I just knew I was loved and accepted, and growing in that. And so I just wanted to know all about him. And so the word was so alive, and the stories were so different, and he was so big.
Yeah.
He was like, there was so big, I couldn't get to the end of it.
Yeah. Wow. And so I wasn't born yet.
No, you were not.
So had you guys moved forward with the divorce, I wouldn't even be here.
No.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. I'm glad you stayed together. I was born because of it.
Amen. You're a love child.
Yeah. I was a child of love. So your story of getting into ministry, because you and Dad were trying to figure out everything out as a young married couple, but now really turning your life around away from sin and to the Father, really learning how to love like him, took some time.
It did. It was interesting.
Yeah. But I love that you never shielded us from your story. I think that's what was so incredible, that I think there was a lot of hiding in the church that I grew up in, like churches, the church of my generation. It was like secret sin everywhere, hidden. But you and Dad were very transparent and vulnerable about what your life used to look like and what you're still working out in faith. Even as we were growing up, it was not perfect, but we could see that there was grace and love in it. And I think that is some of my generation who has deconstructed their faith and had to reconstruct it. I think it was rooted in like this hidden things of the church that they didn't even know were going on around them. But you guys live so transparently. I just always expected, people to live openly about what they were still working out. Why was that? Why did you guys why were you so open?
I think in knowing his forgiveness that we can walk just who we are today with the potential of changing closer and being more and more like him. So there was a lot of grace because he had given us so much grace. I mean, when you know that grace, then you can give it easily. Yeah. I think. I mean, that's my thing.
Yeah, I think when you stay acquainted with that grace too. Yeah. Because you stayed acquainted. You didn't say that was one time that the Lord saved me and now I'm perfect and I don't ever need to keep that grace close to me. You always had it readily available. Yeah. So it's like we could mess up and you were welcomed messy kids in a very beautiful way. You still welcome messy kids, like no matter how old we are or even the spiritual children that you have, they are welcome with all their mess, and you really kind of help them walk through and clean things up for a long time. Yeah. So that is a rare thing as well. So I want to ask you about that. You walk very slowly and intentionally with messy people. You welcome them right at that stage. So what really compels you to do that? Why is that aspect of walking with people when we're such a rush culture? You really slow down and you're so intentional. What compels you to do that? Why is that so important to you?
Well, I think a lot of years I spent learning about the Lord because I didn't know him and I didn't know his character. And it was really learning. Like I remember when even thinking about he's gentle Jesus. Like I didn't know what that looked like. And so for 2 years I just pondered, what does that mean to be gentle? Like I don't know that. I've never had that. And when we ask him those questions, he really does begin to show us, And so there was when I could quote scripture and I could be true, but then one day he just said, I want to know your heart now, and I was like, I don't get that, because we keep this wall up of protection. I did. And he gave me Psalm 56, verse 8. And he said, I collect the tears and I put them in a bottle. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he goes, Kathie, when you cry, I collect those tears when you give them to me. And he said, and I just saw like this winery in heaven, and it was labeled, each bottle was labeled when we trusted him, the date and everything, and he puts it in there, and because we are his most prized possession and he loves us. And I thought, if those tears are so important to him and it's hard for me to cry and to get back into place, I just want to sit with somebody and walk with them and rejoice, because that's what I had to do, is walk out that sanctification of growing closer and more intimate with him.
And it took you time.
It did take me a lot of time to slow down, and to hear and to listen to him and to listen to others too.
I often have thought of that watching my own kids grow, but even with people, I tend to move faster than I think the Lord even wants me to. Sometimes I'll, but I really value that about you, because I think as I'm getting older, I recognize the beauty in just the one conversation, the many years of laboring with somebody, and being with them through their tears, and letting them see, and just being with them as they, learn to walk and then run, and all those things you do with kids. But yeah, so that's really beautiful. I love the winery.
I call it a tierery.
A tierery. Of course you do. Oh my gosh. So you have taught me all about restoration and seeing God's word over my life. So we're talking about children now. You have done so beautifully teaching me how to speak words of life, and power, and making declarations over, from heaven, what the Father sees about destiny and purpose and future for my children and my husband and our family, and the legacy that he's creating. What is some spiritual wisdom you would offer someone whose children are far away from the Lord right now?
This is what I did. It says in Jeremiah 29:11 that he has a plan for us. And I just don't believe it's one page. I believe it's many, many, many pages, just like building a house. And you flip the page. And so as I would have trouble with each of you, I had to just stop and say, Lord, what is my plan? What's the plan that you have for me during this time? And so I remember for one of the children, it was, I don't want you to mention my name to them. Because they were so jealous of God, an invisible God that they couldn't even fight, that for 4 years we never mentioned the name of the Lord in front of them, just so they would know how important they were in our life. Because when you know you're important from your mom and dad, then you know you have importance, that you're important to God as well.
Yeah.
And so I think I always ask, what is the plan, Lord? What do you want me to do in this? Because he loves our children greater than we do.
Yeah.
We have human love, but his love and his plan for them is so big that I wanted to always keep in that plan and not mess it up. So it was really listening to, what do you want me to do? And with one of them, with one of the children, it was, they had gotten really upset with us and wanted to run away. And I knew the basic framework of what the Lord wanted y'all to do. I didn't know how much, but I know that they were called to preach. So when they ran away, I said, okay, Lord, well, how do I pray this? And, and God's big. His ways are far above our ways. And he said, I want you to come against rape. I want you to pray that every road they walk down, that it's a dead end. And I want you to pray that every day that they're gone from you and you have no peace, that the enemy owes you out of his kingdom a certain amount of people. And so every day I would pray those 3 things of, Lord, the plan that you have for them. You know that they're called to preach. So whether it takes 1 day or 20 years, I'm watering that preaching. And whatever they're going to learn, it's going to be for your glory. And so they were gone 3 days. They had a ministry of 150 kids.
That's, yeah.
And it was, God's word is true when we go to him, because it wasn't about me being right. It was him capturing their heart again.
Yeah.
And that's what I would pray. Capture their heart. You know how to do it, and I don't know how. But tell me the words like you are love. Show them that they are loved. So
that's such a selfless prayer, because it really puts, instead of keeping your kids close to you, you're really releasing them to the Lord. I've watched you do that, and you taught me how to do that even when I was little, and when my kids were little, and like my firstborn had her first fever, and I'm like freaking out, like every bad thing in my mind is happening to her. She's in a hospital room. Like, it was just immediate. I lost my mind. And you came over and you're like, trust the Lord with your children. He loves them even more than you do. And that like changed how I parented from that moment on, because I couldn't imagine anyone loving them more than I did. But it was true. He loves them. He created them before I had a thought about them. He did. So I had to trust them in his hands. And yeah, you've really done that with all of us, even as we've gone away and come back. You made it a safe place for us to return. And you kept relationship with us, which was really important, so that we had a place to come back to. So I love that advice. So I want to ask you this. What do you want people to understand about prayer?
I think too, just to go back for 1 second, when a child is away from you, it's very hard. And so there were a lot of tears, because you try to look for those moments of, are they coming back?
Yeah.
And you try to measure them, and you know what they'll laugh at and what they'd cried at or what they'd roll their eyes at, And I think every day that a mother's child is not under the protection and the umbrella of the Lord, it hurts. And I used to I would sing, there was this crazy song, which makes no sense, but it just was to my heart. And it was just called Take Good Care of My Baby. And I used to sing it. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
And I would sing it all the time, over and over, all day long. That was my song to the Lord. And so I think that when we're just to stop for that child and say, Lord, how do I pray? What will capture their heart? Because I want them to know you more than me. I want them to know your love that's so big and so merciful. And what's my plan? What do you want me to do in this? And help me to be obedient to that. I can't say I was always perfect at it and I want them back,
Sure. Yeah.
But to just stop and hear, because the Lord does have our plan, and it's not just a salvation prayer. It's a lifetime of with him, moment by moment. And so I think that would be my thing to say.
Just focus on the Lord. How would you encourage the saints to live worthy today, Mom?
I would say know that he wants to speak with you and be with you, and that in that we can walk worthy with him. That we just want to walk with him.
And he wants to walk with us.
Yes. So.
Truer words were never spoken. That 30 minutes went by really fast. I love all your wisdom pouring out. Thank you for being with us. And so we'll see you next time on the Live Worthy podcast. Thanks for joining us. And if you need a mom to pray for you, find one today, one like this one, who has words of wisdom. See you next time. Thanks.